Hey, this is Zoe Williams of the Voice of Reason and Zoe What Morning shows here at Dash Radio. Listen, everybody on YouTube, you guys have been a tremendous support for my shows, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in every week and, participating. But I'm serious than a mug. We need your help on the GoFundMe campaign. We really want to do the VOR radio network, and I'm asking you personally, each and every one of you, we're over nearly 24,000 strong here on the channel. We need you to support by donating. Just click that little button down there and it'll take you directly to the GoFundMe campaign. It's gofundme.com/Zoe Williams. Anything you can do is greatly appreciated. It continues our movement. It continues our forward progress. And I appreciate you all who have already donated. If you can do it again, I thank you so much. Thanks again. Zoe What? I'm out.
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss a woman's ass. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason. Yeah, I'm back.
Hey, that's right.
God damn it. I'm back. Man, we got another crazy. Let me tell you something. I get so much love and I get so much feedback on these topics. People be mad, they be angry, upset. Well, why did you say it that way? Did you need me to say it in a way that was comfortable? What if I don't want you comfortable? What if I want to irritate you, keep you awake at night, tossing and turning on the fantasies that you've built your relationship on? I know. It could be kind of terrible to have to deal with it. You're listening to the Voice of Reason on Dash Radio. You find me here 3 times a week. That's Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's a caller-driven show, so you already know we need your input. The number to dial is 323-230-4610. That's 323-230-4610. Topics, relationships, politics, social constructs. Oh my God. All of it. We deal with it right here. We have a smaller crew in the building today, which I always love because it produces more room for us to go deeper on particular topics. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, wait, before I introduce anybody, let me promote a couple of things. The Relationship Dismount, How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship, is my 2015 book. It's still available. You can go to my website. Frank, pull up the website. IamZoeWilliams.com. Click shop, and it'll take you to, wherever the book is. You can order it, and I will send it out to you ASAP. Also, you can pre-order your copy of the follow-up to the Relationship Dismount, How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship, The Holographic Relationship. A deeper look at the union between consciousness, God, and intimacy. A very powerful book. I'm starting to bring in some different type of folk to the Voice of Reason. We just booked Michael Beckwith.
All right.
Yeah, man, that's going to be crazy. In studio.
Okay.
It's about to be... Things are going down, ladies and gentlemen.
Ain't that the dude that came out with blue blockers first?
No, that was the rapper from the beach.
Oh,
look at you. Lay down.
The blue block.
It's going down in the town. It's about to be a crazy show. Let me introduce today's topic. No, before I do the topic, let me introduce Mimi. Mimi is back in the building. What up, Mimi?
What's happening? How you doing?
On delicious status.
Oh, thank you so much. What's up, people?
Yeah, they love Mimi.
Oh, and I love y'all too. You know I do.
Awesome. And then the homeboy, we had to bring him back. We had to do like a follow-up to last Friday's show. We just had to do it. The homie, attorney, UCLA, LMU educated, up in here on the real side of the game, came from LA, raised out here in the streets, made it against all odds, and now swinging the lumberjack axe of data, Antonio Moore.
Yeah, make sure you go to Tone Talks on YouTube, subscribe, check out some of the interviews with Thomas Shapiro, with Byron Allen, with Meta World Peace. Great discussions about wealth, about black life, and across the nation, not just in Los Angeles.
Ooh, are y'all ready to deal with today's topic? It's very important that we cover this.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
I know a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but we gotta.
Oh, yeah.
God damn, after Friday's show.
Yeah, we got to swing it the other way. We got to look at these dudes.
We got to look at the dudes now.
All right, time to look at y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's topic, are black men simply a maxed out relationship credit card in today's modern dating game?
Oh, wow.
Fuck.
So you can't do all this. We got white people in the room. They're looking at us like we don't date that way.
Are they only here to be used for drinks and an occasional bite to eat?
You know what? I'm hungry. No, I'm just playing.
Damn.
Maybe a little emotional, you look beautiful today.
Damn it.
Throw
Let me
that
say
in.
it again. Let me say it again. That's just terrible. Are black males simply a maxed out relationship credit card in today's modern dating game? Wow. Are they only used for drinks and an occasional bite to eat? The number to dial is 323-230-4610. Oh my God. I don't even want to read these questions that fucking Antonio
why
sent
it gotta
us.
be me? Why you gotta say it's me sent them? Just say them. So
Are black men performing on first dates like court jesters, trying to keep the queen happy?
you know they be out here saying it all on the first date. I'm gonna take you to the moon and back. Nigga ain't got enough gas to go down the street.
Right.
So,
Broke down.
so he's basically saying most black men are bow wow in relationships. we fronting on the plane and the private plane and all that.
Yeah.
We selling
we'll get into
dreams.
it.
We're dream sellers?
Oh man, it's worse than that.
Wow.
Right. They bring their representative out, not the real them.
Is the black male ego so flat that they literally don't have self-pride, mass incarceration, and unemployment? What is the decadent veil of celebrity? How does this veil affect black relationship goals?
So edit that one.
Yeah, come on, man. You know.
That's my decadent veil.
Right. Because everybody's looking at everybody else, looking at what the Joneses are doing. So when they see Beyonce and Jay, they want to do it. But hey, you're not Jay and you're not Beyonce. So
Well,
you got a high school diploma.
Right.
Let's get right into it, man.
Let's do it.
Let's just get right into it. Tone. Oh, God. How is the black man a maxed out relationship credit card in intimate relationships? Speak on it.
Let's set a framework so we all have a good discussion here. Last week it came out that white America controls. Well, actually, America has $94 trillion with a T in household wealth. White America has 90% of that. Black America has 2.6% of that.
Wow.
Now, 90% of the black 2.6% is in the top 20% of households. That's like the boomers. What you really see is that young black people really don't have any bread. And they just kind of like mimicking what other people actually do have. Somebody might say, don't young white people not have bread? I just said that white people have 90% of the $94 trillion in household wealth.
In other words, white people got chips and dip.
And they be handing it down early.
Right.
When you know how when you walk into some parties, you get chips in the beginning?
Yeah.
That's the way white people live.
Right. Hors d'oeuvres.
You know, all that. We call those in vivo transfers, where essentially during your life, somebody pays off that $100,000 in student loans. Some grandma somehow gives you $40,000 to put down on your house. Grandma helps you with your kids' private loans. All that matters. And the reason why that framework is important is because the idea of black men as a patriarch mimics a reality of wealth they don't have access to.
Wow.
And so now where we're at is
Slow down. Say it again.
Yeah, the idea of black men as these chivalry kind of guiled out characters mimics like the reality of like white wealth actually being like passed around. So when I said the household wealth is $94 trillion, what I'm essentially saying when white people have 90%, they have $88 trillion with a T of household wealth. The bottom 80% of black households are living on $200 billion with a B. Basically nothing but credit. So then you might ask, how are we going on vacations? How are we sending kids to school? How are we living? Well, we kind of just making it up. And it's interesting because we come to this whole context of black men as a maxed out credit card in terms of relationships. And what you see is that it's my feeling that in a lot of situations, our men
Don't hold back, man.
Our men are learning how to, on the first date, sell everything they got. You ever seen somebody who don't know how to negotiate and they just tell you everything they have on that first opening negotiation? That's the way we live.
I got 32 cents in my IRA.
right. Yeah, and so that's kind of what they are. But they're going even further and telling you something that they don't have, and telling you that they'll give you all these things that they wouldn't even give themselves, let alone their daughter.
Right.
So you're saying the system, in a way, produces a black male relationship liar so he could get somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's subconscious. I think some of it is conscious, but I think in the end, there's a lack of context of reality that you can just tell this person who you are, and that's it. Just tell them you poor on the first date.
Most people are not going to do that.
Well, but the reality is, by the data, almost all of them are poor.
Well, let's put it on Mimi.
Well,
Mimi, if a man came to you and was like, look, I'm a felon. I'm an ex-felon. I'm broke as a joke. But I fucks with you. How you gonna build on that?
Well, we can be good friends. You can be my homie. I can help you out. I can lead you to how to help yourself out. But we probably not going to be together only because, I'm a little bit too old to step into a situation. Not to call myself old, but, I'm not 20. So I can't really step into something with that kind of demographics.
Well, this is the problem, though, Mimi. I wish that we had. I'm actually gonna send Zoe a chart because we got to pull this in here, Zoe.
I got it. You sent it to me. I got it.
I just want to say one thing, Mimi. Mm-hmm. Half the race, there's 14 million households. Half the race is worth negative 60 billion.
Well, I'm
okay.
Sure.
So wait, slow that down. Slow that down, because people need to understand the full magnitude of that.
Yeah.
So when you say half the race, you're talking about. That's 7 million households out of 14 million.
Wow.
So out of 14 million black households, 7 million of those black households are worth minus 60 billion?
Yeah, and this is coming from the Federal Survey of Consumer Finances. Demos.org breaks it out. Matt Brunig, you can go look him up, but look up demos.org. But nonetheless, the chart is pulled up for you and you can see it yourself. The bottom 80% of households is only worth 200 of black households only worth 200 billion. That's not enough. So the problem that we run into is that
wait, one more thing. How does that break down? That 200 billion. How does that break down over those households?
Well, the problem is that it's really, as you see, if the bottom 50% is negative, it's really aggregated in that top.
Right.
So it's really not about per se a breakdown. My thing to Mimi is I know your age group, you might have to date a 60-year-old man to get them qualities that you're talking about. because that's the group that had the advantage of those garbage jobs and the housing prices going up from the 80s. And so like what we're seeing right now is people don't know the data. And so they're going out and they're just being like sold a dream of Herbalife and mixing that in with a little
Herbalife,
little training and mixing that in with a little Uber, and that's enough for a family. And that's not really enough to be more than like, you ever seen somebody with a stick with a little bag on the back end of the stick? They call them hobos.
Right.
That's what that's enough for.
Wow.
And I think that for a lot of us, we're taking a bunch of hoboism and trying to make that into a family.
Hoboism.
Wow, hoboism, huh?
Yes, it's like hustling, but it's not really producing any. When they did the math on Uber, what they like, there's a great video where this lady breaks down all the math. You make $2 an hour, all that driving around, you take all that risk, you make $2 to $4 an hour. That's in LA because we have a higher, I guess, rate. But like in Detroit, it's not even like you lose money Ubering. And so like we feel like we're doing a lot because we moving. And this is what we have on our dates. It's like he telling you all this energy and he gonna do this and he gonna be that. But in the end, if the data is the data, we got to be able to get honest and be able to say, I come from this legacy, I'm in this position, and the world is what it is. Where we going to go from here?
So you telling me it's unrealistic to aspire to be like Jay-Z. It's unrealistic to aspire to be like J and B in terms of black relationship goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm saying to you that there's such aberrations, and also they just were well timed. I told everybody, I think on the first show that I did at night, I represented Skee-Lo for the song I Wish with his royalties and everything, and that's that 94 period. That's over. That's a wrap. You're not, like, the whole idea of getting these big chunks.
That's the Telcom Act.
Yeah,
so
90,
break that down.
Yeah, Skee-Lo is 94 with that. He, and for those people that don't remember, his song was huge. It was nominated for a Grammy right against Pac and Biggie and Bone for that 94 Grammy Rap Album of the Year. But like, nonetheless, in doing that, what I kind of came to understand is that was a window of time that produced, like when you think about it, let me put it more simply. Jay-Z, Ice Cube, Baby, and Puffy were all born the same year. You think that's happenstance? It's not because they geniuses that they just were well positioned, well timed, and so they were right there when the Telecom Act happened. What the Telecom Act did in '96 was kind of lock the doors. In '96, President Clinton signs the Telecom Act. Before the Telecom Act, any one company could only own 3 radio stations. 3 radio stations.
So this was the consolidation of media.
Yeah, what he opened the door for is that you can own as many as you want. What happened is that conglomerates came in and bought all the black radio stations. But once they did that, whoever was hot in '96 was locked in, and they still here today. Now, the point I'm saying to you more about coming back to the relationship reality is we have to understand the dynamics that created our biggest supposed dreams so we can understand if they're even attainable. And then you have to ask yourself, do you even want to be that?
But
do
then
you want to be a high school dropout that can't... Go ahead.
But then what happens if you get attacked for even posing these questions? You negative. You a naysayer. Why would you even bring this up?
Yeah, my problem is I done met a lot of people and did a lot of work, so it's not really coming from a negative space. It's coming from data and then real experiences. I done talked to Byron Allen for hours. I'm talking about, like this is not, it kind of throws the whole conversation off because most people that say the whole negative thing is because they haven't, that person they're talking to isn't grounded in data or real experiences of actually talking to money. And then it's like funny because then on the other side, like I said with my doc, having talked to Rick so many hours, you can't even tell me about the dope money because like he really like broke it down and people don't know how that really went down. It wasn't as clean as everybody thinks, like the dirty boy and the clean boy. No, a lot of people up in them hills that you aspire and look towards that are doctors and lawyers, their house might have came from some questionable bread. And so like I come back to it and my main point is just to say, I think we as African Americans, what's happening right now is that our men are going into these first dates and just performing like jesters.
Give us an example of the gesture dance, and then I'm gonna go to Mimi.
Mimi, your eyes look so beautiful. They're the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen. When you have a daughter already, like you have a daughter, how's her eyes more beautiful than your daughter's eyes? You just met this lady. Why don't you just let her just be her, and then you be you, or for that matter. If you don't like sushi, don't take nobody to no sushi restaurant on no first date. Go where you like to eat. And I'm not saying where she's allergic to or anything like that. You want to take her into consideration. But the reality is, like, you have to take yourself into consideration as well. And some of that got lost along the way, and we dropped it out of our pockets and trying to perform.
What if it's not really a date unless she wants to go to Nobu?
Well, then that's not the right person. And she don't know the data. I seen a lot of pictures in front of Nobu on Facebook.
A lot of pictures in front of
But we know that the middle black family in LA is worth $200. That's a Nobu meal. That's a meal.
That's a meal.
That's a meal. Our race largely right now, and the reason why it's important, let me be clear for black men, is you can't guide a household if you always tap dancing. Wow. And so, like, my thing to come back to it is it's important to set a parameter of what you have so that you don't have to keep the lie going. And I love to hear, you know, Mimi was kind of talking to it before. When you start the date off on a lie, when you start that interaction off on a lie, you always gonna have to lie. And I think a lot of us have gotten into subconscious lies. I'm not even dealing with the conscious, like I taught Kobe how to go left kind of lie. I'm talking about the kind of like Herbalife is a good thing kind of lie. You know, I'm
just gonna do this for a little while, and then after I stack my bread, I'm gonna buy my pizzeria.
Yeah. Or for that matter, just not dealing with the fact that it's a pyramid scheme.
Right.
You know, let me just get access to your homegirls, and then you give them access to your homegirls, and then when things go left, you kind of like looking at it like, I don't know what happened. You dated a guy that do pyramid schemes. You know what happened.
Like, Primerica is gonna pay off.
Yeah, you know it ain't gonna. You know. My thing is like we got to a point. It feels like when we go back in time in the early '80s, we kind of like knew it. Like one thing that Rick kind of told me is that dope boys weren't like glamorous in the '80s, like the early '80s before rap. And so like what's interesting about now is that we still want to dip and dab in that risky money, but then we kind of want to still play it like it's a good thing. Like Herbalife is good, it's gonna make you lose weight. What about the fact that you got to buy all them products for like them prices and you don't have it and your community don't have it and you selling it to people that clearly want to get rich? And I just feel like our first date exchanges aren't honest enough. So then everything that happens after that
is just built on some bullshit.
Yeah.
Mimi?
Well, I must agree.
Well,
a lot of times on a first date, everybody's, it's almost like being on an interview. When you go to a job, everyone wants to say they have this skill, that skill set, they worked here, they do this, they do that. And then when they go to the job, they're not performing on the level that they originally stated that they were on. So that happens male and female. But men, obviously, when they're trying to pull a woman in, obviously they're bringing their representatives, in my opinion, to the table. But to me, the proof is in the pudding. So it's like you could say, oh, I'm rolling, my mama lived with me. But after a while, I start noticing you live with your mama. You know what I mean? Or you're whatever the situation is, whatever the lie is, eventually it will come out. Now, maybe not all of it off the top, but I feel like the proof is in the pudding. I mean, if someone's telling you that they have a good job and then every time you go out, they're scraping pennies and they're acting a certain way, they don't have their own place and everything's not lining up, you'll be able to figure that out. You know what I mean? But I feel like if you really care about somebody and you meet them, I think you should be honest with that person so they can know what they're dealing with. But there's a catch-22 because if you're too honest, it runs them away. Because if you do meet someone and say, hey, I'm fresh out, I'm broke, I'm living with my mama, I don't know how I'm going to eat tomorrow, that may run somebody off. But that might be their facts. That might be their way of life.
This is why I say lies work better on women than the truth.
Right. No, you're right.
Well, it works. It works particularly better when your family's only worth $200 in the city.
But you know what? You keep, hold on. You keep saying that, and it's like I get what you're saying, and those stats are there. But at the same time, as a man thinketh, so he is. So I'm not gonna ever get that in my brain that I'm not worth nothing, and like the black men are not worth anything because guess what? Tomorrow your life can change. I mean, you don't know what someone's future has to hold for them, and you can't hold people back by naysaying to a person. And that's no disrespect to you, but I'm just saying in general, there's hope with people. That one dude, he's got his rap album. He's waiting for them to sign him. He could get signed tomorrow. I'm just using an example. That doctor, that lawyer, whoever it is, it could be someone broke. Tomorrow they might stumble upon a blessing, and favor ain't fair. They might be just favored by God, and favor again is not fair. So I mean,
I like that.
But this
favor ain't fair.
This kind of brings us back to the energy thing. At the end of the day, I'm not talking about like some variants of a close like reality where it's like we just don't. at some point, you got to stop with the whole idea that there's going to be a scratch off tomorrow that fixes it all. And like my thing coming back to it is that what I'm saying to you is not my opinion. This is coming from real studies that researchers are doing. Right. And I'm just let me finish my point. I'm saying to you, when I say that the middle family's worth $200, let's make it clear. We don't have enough wealth right now to sustain the people that we created. And so what's happening right now is that we're getting into interactions one-to-one, and we're not being honest about where we come from. We as black people got to start saying less about what we want to be and more about who we are and more about where we come from. So that way we have a grounded relationship. You didn't used to have to do that. You know, you used to be a shoe shineman and a maid, and y'all both knew that, right?
Antonio, let me ask this. Are you saying the relationship beliefs, the social game rules that black people have are not based in reality, or at least not based in the reality that we're facing currently? So in order to have high functioning relationships, we now have to rewrite or reject or adjust those beliefs that we have about relationships, those expectations. Are you saying we just have to sit down and go, wait a minute, this is where we are. We're in this boat. We're not on that yacht. We're in this boat. And for this boat, these are the rules that apply?
This is what I'm saying to you. I'm saying that there was a reconstruction back when, and we won a lot of political seats back in the early 1900s or whatever. Mm-hmm. We just went through a similar phase of a reconstruction era. And what's happening now is we're running up against the construct of people who won during that era, and it's over. And they don't know that it's over. Meaning, like, if you, like, there was subprimes, there was rap, there was all these things, and like, I agree with Mimi that people should keep trying. But the question, and I posed this before on another one of your shows, is do you keep trying to be a better father than your father, or do you keep trying to be Jay-Z when they ain't making no more Jay-Z's? And like, my thing to...
That's a big point, and I think you need to go deeper into that. Yeah. When they're not making any more Jay-Z's. So in Jay-Z's mind, he's self-made. But you just said they are not making any more Jay-Z's. Number one, who is they? And what is the purpose of the creation of a Jay-Z?
Well, the system, as I said before, there's a reason that all those men are the same age. The system had a moment where it really was pushing forward this whole image of like black music and using that to sell other product. And like, it took a lot of dollars to actually get those people, that those brands into people's heads. Me and Rick had a dinner actually a breakfast with Jerry Heller, condolences to his family. But Jerry Heller was talking about NWA, and everybody think of it like the movie, and in his mind it didn't happen that way. Everybody can have their own opinion. But like, white America wasn't feeling no rap music like that. And so like, he was just talking about how he had to go to Orange County and get people that like rock and roll into NWA. What I'm saying is there was a big fight to get white America, and I understand we had Motown and Michael Jackson, but there was a big fight to get white America to see this brazen image of a black male that you see with Jay-Z, this egoed image of a black male, and accept it. It takes a lot of dollars to do that. And I think for now, where you're at now is they're not pouring Universal, they're not pouring that money into it. And so what's happening is like, we have a bunch of black men that are looking to these models of Ice Cube and Jay-Z and mimicking that as though that's what made money. No, that's not what made money, them looking like that or talking like that. What made money is that there was a whole system that decided they would make money.
Selected, not elected.
Yeah.
Mimi? I know Mimi is like, motherfucker.
I mean, I have so much to say.
Go ahead. That's why you're here.
Yeah, give your opinion.
Yeah.
I have so much to say. I mean,
say it,
Mimi. And starting off, I just, like I said, I believe that any person, when they put their mind to something, they can do it. I'm totally against, even though the stats are correct. I'm not going against the stats, but what I am saying is that, anybody can do anything. And I believe that, you're right. There was a segment when, rap artists were moving on a certain height. But see, Suge Knight ruined some of that. It's not just, what you're saying. It's also, what we were doing when we got put in those positions. So when Suge Knight got put in that position, he ruined it for the West Coast. So therefore, they stopped picking up on West Coast artists on this side of the road because they felt like they were a threat because he was taking people, peeing on them, throwing them out the window, beating up people, pistol whipping people. They had a whole little line of the way they were doing business. They were taking the streets and bringing it to the boardroom, and you can't take the streets to the boardroom.
Not with all them white people.
No. So you have to,
like,
what I mean? Exactly. So he basically ruined it in regards to that era. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm not trying to point fingers, but it is what it is. If you know anything about the music industry, that's when it took a turn when they started seeing what he did once he got to a certain amount of power, and he was a very powerful man. Had he not done that, look at how far he would be right now. And sometimes when people use ignorance and it's involved in their business, it's their downfall. So that's why I watch what I say about people, because it's also ignorant to put people down when you don't know where they're coming from. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to put any black man down because I believe in the black man. And black man, if you're listening to me, you can do anything but fail. I don't care what the statistics say. I don't care what people say. You can do it. Black woman, you can do it too. So, I mean, I'm just not with that. We can all be prosperous together, and if we try to work together instead of bringing each other like crawdads and stop trying to talk bad about each other, then we can go further. But it's when we try to bring each other down, it's like painting a picture, and they already got a bad picture. Black men already got a bad taste in their mouth. They got to watch out for the police. They got to watch out for each other. They got to watch out for the women. And now they got to watch out for other black people talking about other black people, which is all in the same. So my point is, black man, stay encouraged. Don't let nobody hold you down, because I'm not.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the voice of reason, Zoe Williams on Dash Radio. It's going down in the town. I'm up in here with Mimi. She was just on her soapbox preaching the gospel. My homeboy Antonio Moore, Lord Data. He is Data from Star Trek. That's how we're going to look at Antonio Moore. He's got the information. He is Vulcan. He is reasonable. He is logic. And listen, after everything you just said, Mimi, I see both sides of the coin.
I agree.
I don't believe that you can create a sustainable reality unless that reality is based in some form of elemental truth.
No, I agree.
So, listening to what Antonio is saying, he's saying there is a fundamental fact.
I agree.
With regards to the inequity in the bread that America has, right?
Agreed.
When we talk about inequality with money, economic inequality, black people have 2.6%. White people have what, 90?
90.
Okay, 90.
Sad.
So.
and the top 50 of white people have 88% of that. Now, the issue is the difference between us and them is that our whole group tries to mimic their top 50.
So now we're coming back to it. Right. So now we're coming back to the crux of it.
Right.
If we're mimicking 88% of the wealth with only 2% of the wealth, then we're lying to ourselves. Yes?
Absolutely.
Can we just fucking agree on that?
I agree.
So if the Joneses are white and we black, and white has 88% of the wealth and we have 2.6% of the wealth, we have to break away from the desire to want to mimic something we are not.
Absolutely.
But this is the issue, though.
Mm-hmm.
The only issue is that of that 2.6, I keep coming back to it, like 90% is in boomer hands.
So explain to them what boomers are for the youngsters.
So boomers are like people above the age, let's say, of 60 or something like that. And they got their start basically buying houses when they were like 80,000, and they caught the winds of affirmative action.
Right.
The bottom, like, I guess the issue that I'm having with the mindset that we can do anything is we approach this as though it was the Hatfields and McCoys. Mm. Not like it was slavery for 400 years and then Jim Crow followed, and not like there's particular efforts to shut us down. It's funny because even like with Suge, like everything I talk about, I have one-to-one conversations. Like with Suge said he hold his masters. I didn't do nothing that the rest of the industry didn't do.
But peeing
and so
on
let
people.
me no, I don't talk about peeing on people. I'm just saying
again. She's saying his behavior.
I'm not dealing with, but I'm talking about just the heart.
But
I'm saying
I know
this.
him too.
No, okay, and I'm just saying to you that when what happens sometimes is that we take what black men do and we make it seem like it's not something that the industry did. I'm not talking about the actual like excessive behavior you just pointed out. I'm talking about just being hard on what you have to go get in this industry. I'm not advocating it. I'm just saying that he's not the first. And my thing to come back to it is,
so there's a gang of big reds.
Yeah,
it's a gang of people pissed.
There's a gang of people just doing what they have to do to what they believe to survive.
Well, absolutely.
But my bigger point is that largely isn't relevant in context of what I'm talking about is when you have nothing in your pocket and you go out and try to buy everything. And so, like, I just want to say this. Go Google this article just so you can understand that this isn't an LA phenomenon. This isn't a national phenomenon. And then let's bring it back to this topic, which is the jobless rate for young black men is a national disgrace.
No, that's real.
This is one little section. It says the U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey gathered data on the jobless rate of non-institutionalized men. That's the ones out of jail. They're not even counting the jailbirds. Wow. 20 to 34 years old. Averaged over the period of 2010 to 2014 for 34 major cities. The data paints a grim picture for black men, particularly in the Midwestern, industrial, and mid-Atlantic cities like Milwaukee, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland. All had black jobless rates above 45%. That's social collapse.
That's collapse.
Like, that's my point is, like, I think that one of the things that the myths that came out of the 80s is we're not amidst collapse.
So let's come back to this, and I want to start with Mimi on this too, because that's a heavy fucking point. Listen, if you're just tuning in to the Voice of Reason, again, another powerful topic going down right now. We love Mimi. This is a consummate woman right here. She gonna ride with you. She gonna rub your back through that bullshit. She gonna put some liniment on you. She gonna get you through it. But we gotta have these conversations.
Absolutely.
My man Antonio Moore is in here. If you're just tuning in, today's topic are black males simply a maxed out relationship credit card in today's modern dating game? Are they only here to be used for drinks and an occasional bite to eat? Oh my God, this is terrible. Is the black male ego so flat that literally they don't have self-esteem because of mass incarceration and unemployment? Are black men performing on first dates like court jesters, trying to keep the queen happy, trying to perpetuate a lie? I got it.
Yeah.
My rims, they gleaming. I'm clean. I'm not dusty.
Right.
Wait a minute, 2.6% of us, that's all we have. So we fronting. Why does the fronting work on the sister? Oh, damn.
But we stay fronting. I mean, just think about it. When people have their first birthday party as black people for their child doesn't even remember the party. But you got ponies, you got all the
Jordans.
You got Jordans.
Got a Jordan cake.
Yeah, you got a chain on with diamonds on it. He got the Jordans on. You can't even pay your phone bill this month, but you had this party. So, it's really deep, as he just said. I mean, but it's sad in one way, but I think it's our way to almost compensate for how we feel inside. Like, we want to show other people that we're doing well, although we're not. It's almost like, look at me, I'm doing good, although at night they're trying to figure out how to make ends meet since they spent all that money. But at the end of the day, they want to look good for their friends. They want to outdo their other friends' party. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's trying to outdo one another. So, and that's the sad thing about it.
Call me right now if you spent your rent money on Christmas. 323-230-4610. Call me right now.
That's
Antonio.
Right.
So this is the question that makes the rubber hit the road. So, what about the guy that comes on the date and says, I'm not doing good and I probably won't do good in this life, but I can love you? So what about that guy?
Fuck
Is there
him.
space for that guy?
Well, this is the thing. Do I even love him? So if I don't love him, then that whole sentence meant nothing to me. But if I loved him, then that's something different. And then I have to help my man. But just because someone loves me doesn't mean I love them. So I'd have to see who you're talking about.
Well, I'm saying this. Let's be more succinct. I'm saying to you, let me actually put it as a point.
Okay.
If you date a guy
right
who can give you $5,000 cash
right
wherever it came from,
right,
it's kind of hard to date the next guy who's talking about just giving you some love.
Well, let me just say this to you.
Love ain't enough.
It's several points answers to that.
Okay.
One, I mean, it depends if you're in love with this person. If you're in love with this person, and again, like you said, love don't pay the bills. But if they have gotten to a point where I'm super in love with you, then we can work something out. But if not, I got to go because I don't know you like that. What do you have to? You know what I'm saying? Why would I do that to myself when I'm not in love with you?
But how do you get to? This is the thing. How do you get to love?
But guess what? That's something that happens naturally. I can't tell you how I get to love. I don't. Sometimes I love people and you don't know why you love the person. So that's a very interesting question.
No, I mean,
love is not chosen.
Look, hold on,
love is not
hold on.
chosen. It happens.
Hold on.
Okay.
We got to get to a couple of callers.
Okay.
It's going down in this motherfucker right now, and I love it. Are black men a primary, secondary, or tertiary long-term / marriage option? 323-230-4610. Caller, you're on the line. What's your name and where you calling from? Welcome to the Voice of Reason. Speak on it. Caller.
Hello, Zone.
What's happening, Pim?
What's up?
This is Reggie, Indiana. I want to get in real quick. I listen to Antonio Moore at all times on all his shows, and I look at him on the internet, and he comes with the straight facts. It's 100% accurate. I've researched what he's talking about. It's 100% accurate. Mm-hmm. But at some point, it seems like it. We have to. I know that he gets us with reality, but at the end of the day, a lot of times in the dating game, the women they're not in reality. So you got to meet them where they are. I feel like, we deal with logic and facts. That's what most dudes do generally. And women deal with emotion and hope. So, you know what I mean? So, at some point, if we want to get together with our black sisters, we probably need to just kind of chill on that other stuff and have that in our mind, but then try to at least meet and try to. We have the logic in our mind, so we can say, okay, well, this person has X, Y, Z going on. They have problems. They got this and that. You can choose whether or not to be it. She's probably gonna be running on emotion, or if she's thirsty or whatever the case may be because she didn't have a dad. All those factors kind of come into play. Mm-hmm. But they really do. But it comes down to a personal choice. They might have to bump their head a little bit, and we might have to bump their head when we chasing around people that look like me in the little tights and all that kind of stuff. So, it all kind of comes into play.
He like your tights.
All right, everybody like Mimi's tights, I see. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Hey, man, good looking on the call. We appreciate the information. If you want to bring your city into the building, all you got to do is call us at 323-230-4610. What's the difference between income and wealth? If you got income, are you balling? Some people think they're balling because they have a high income. What's the difference between income and wealth? What did the Cosby Show do to fuck up our relationship goals? Jesus Christ.
Can we come back to that question? So we gotta come back to that caller.
Go ahead. You want to talk to him? I know.
Yeah. I appreciate him tuning in to my Tone Talks, and I think it's this interesting dynamic where you think there's like two sides. There's logic, and then there's fantasy, and it's like our job to bring logic and their job to bring. We live in a post-feminist world where
Say more. Go deeper.
Everybody got to be responsible, and I think that what we're seeing is exactly what I'm saying about what we're posing is like your idea that it's your job to pick up the slack of the inability to be honest about their situation. And so when I say there, I mean females on their first date. And so like my point is to say this, is to say this isn't a situation where we have about $100,000 and we need to grow it to $500,000 and we just need time. This is a situation where we are in the middle of economic collapse. And like, you're basically telling her you're still going to provide. Mm-hmm. And I think what your actual goal...
And that's basically a lie.
Yeah, it's basically a lie. And so like, and the thing is, your actual role in my belief in a relationship is to guide this relationship on grounded, like real realities. It's not to adhere to not just fantasy, but superhero type like ideas of like what can be, because all that's gonna do is lead somebody down the wrong path, and even if they're not with you in the future. And it's funny because like I'm finding out nobody has been talking about this wealth data, so nobody knows it. And I understood what Mimi was saying, and I really do feel the same way, just in a different way, about black men and potential. I feel like if your father was a bad father, you try to be a good father. But I don't think in terms of these data numbers, when you say that your family's worth $200, you don't have enough. And like at some point, that's why your baby mama tripping on you.
So now you're saying now it's time for us to find a way to be happy where we are.
Yeah, the money is pretty much locking up.
Part of the problem is the aspiration. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, part of the problem is the aspiration, and then another part is like everybody's dishonest about what it takes to make some money now. So like when I say that,
which is the bigger problem, the dishonesty or the aspiration? Because maybe the dishonesty could be the thing that holds the aspiration back. If there was honesty, then maybe the aspiration could get upgraded from possibility or potentiality to probability.
Well, I just think if I had to say what the biggest problem is that we're just in the flux time where so many people, they've been to Jamie house once, or so many people, dated Rick once back in the day and he had a safe in their house. And so like what you end up with, for real. So like what you end up with is that older women that are in their 40s, they dated up and they dated a lot of 50-year-old rappers and 50-year-old dope boys. And so now that's over, and they don't really know that's over like in a real way, because those dudes are coming out of jail and some of them still got their properties and stuff. But like what's happening is that it's nothing behind this. And like I think for a lot of us, we don't understand what 45% unemployment means. What it means is that you basically don't have enough to make promises. And you need to really look into the mirror and be honest about what you can afford. And it's okay to tell somebody that you don't have it. That's the main thing that I feel needs to happen on a first interaction.
I agree.
Yeah, actually tell somebody all this charisma, all this guile, all this silliness. Stop trying to be Kevin Hart. Stop trying to be Idris Elba, and just be yourself.
Right.
Wow. This is crazy. The phone lines is jumping right now. Callers! Welcome to the Voice of Reason. I'm coming to you right now. Who wants to speak on tonight's topic? Tone is going in. Mimi ain't taking none of that shit.
She not taking none of it.
She not taking none of it.
Mimi done scratched me
She's
up.
like, hell to the knob.
My legs are scratched.
Who's on the line? Speak on it right now.
I believe you, though.
Caller, you're on the line. What's your name and where you calling from? Speak on it.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay. I hear y'all loud and clear, man. First, I want to give a shout out to you, though, man. You've been lacing us with good information for years, man. And I've been a fan for a long time. Mimi, I also want to give a shout out to Mimi and Antonio. You guys are also giving a great perspective, great show. The energy is so entertaining. No, seriously, man. I mean, what you guys do for me, man, it's a real thing, man. So I just want to give y'all a shout out. I don't want to be long, but I kind of wanted to answer the initial question, which I think was about whether or not black men have been maxed out or like just maxed out credit cards. I myself am a black man, and I'm 26. I'm kind of young, whatever. And I just got a new job, so I'm gonna be on some money in a while, but not a lot. But anyway, my point is, I do feel like right now, I don't know if it's like an age thing, but I do feel like I don't have a lot to offer. But also, and I want Antonio to tell me what he thinks about this, but also, too, I have access to information, like, through the internet and people I see around me and my peers, to where I'm almost like, I'm kind of cool on y'all. Like, how do you feel about access to, like, info and you seeing the negative sides of relationships, almost, like, not even inspiring you to want to give a fuck about relationships in the first place. That's kind of where I'm at.
That's big right there.
Right.
Well, I think that's kind of what's happening on the female side already. That's why so many are like alone. They just don't know it actively. Like they say, I'm still looking, but like it's not really part of their like daily practice to be out looking. And so like that's what happens when you don't have no bread in the community. It's like people are kind of uncomfortable. You know, an animal naturally starts to like try to nest and have families when it feels safe.
Mm-hmm.
We feel financially unsafe and we're lashing out at each other. And I think that's part of my point is like these first interactions shouldn't be about taking advantage of one another. And I think that that's kind of where we're at. And I say to you, like, I don't feel like that's going to be a safe space. I definitely know how you got there. But I think that what you have to kind of do is just have faith that somebody is out there that actually will see you for the good person that you are and try to move forward.
And then I'm going to chime in on this too, just on some basic shit. You're a young man. The reality of it is a relationship is a financial responsibility.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you don't have the resources to devote to that until you create the resources or you find them somewhere or you find your purpose. See, a lot of times resources come out of purpose. And if somebody doesn't know what their purpose is and you kind of just floating around and you're an employee, I know the natural tendency is to be like, oh, well, let me get with somebody. Let me lock in with somebody. But the reality of it is you don't have the resources to be able to maintain that shit.
Right.
And Lord forbid you get comfortable and start having unprotected sex. Lord forbid that's coming down the pike. Now there's pregnancy. So when you're dealing with pregnancy, that's in the woman's, realm of control. She could be like, nah, this, I have another path in my life. Or she could be like, I'm not a woman if I get rid of this baby.
Right.
So now you're on the hook for $2 million for the next 18 years. If you want this to
Explain that $2 million.
That $2 million, what it takes, private school, you know the dreams we have?
Right.
Private school, all daycare, all the little side shit you want to do, sports, tutors, SAT prep tests, all the clothes, all the shit you need to be able to afford a kid. And I mean at a high level, about $2 million.
Right. I agree.
Now, there's a lot of people making do with less. Right? You understand? But the results of that are coming back too. Mm-hmm. Lord forbid, let's look at the other way. The relationship don't work. Well, in comes family court.
Right.
That's a $50 billion a year industry. Oh, y'all niggas can't figure this out? Well, we'll figure it out for you. And we'll take a little piece of child support right now has what? 100% interest on it. So whatever your payment is, there's on top of that 100% interest on every payment. So do you understand, like, as a young man, dude, you need to be building what it is you supposed to build.
And I think for a lot of our young men, though, they don't realize how much power they have in the beginning. Like that, who you're choosing.
Right.
And I come back, that's why I see what Mimi was going with it earlier with the men and the women, but what I'm seeing in this city is that a lot of these women are moving here from Milwaukee with no car. Talking about they Uber everywhere. And like, that's like a transient life. And like,
you're a transient. Wait a minute. How do you have relationship standards and demands
and you ain't got a car?
You're a transient?
No, but like, no, for real. No, on a real level, it's like interesting because like none of those things really lead to a man just saying you're not the one for me. And maybe they should. Maybe they should. Maybe you should. Like we're getting to the point where we're on our relationships. We're not asking those questions of what religion are you? Tell me more about your relationship with your mom and your pops. Where you ask these questions that kind of tell you, or even like, what do you here in LA to do, and how do you get around? Right. And like, we kind of just as a male side coming back to we kind of just go in and just accept anything right now. And I'm talking generally, I know that, but I'm saying generally speaking, like that's not what I see young women doing. They're kind of like, Is this in order? Is that in order? Or do you have these things? And like, I feel like you got to also look at it kind of like an interview in that beginning phase, because that's when you get to choose. Don't try to choose later when she's pregnant. Like that's late in the game.
That's when it's over.
Yes,
it's over. Can I choose now? No, nigga. No.
She's crazy.
Right. She tripping,
but she been this way.
Right.
What did she say on that first day? She said, "I want the lobster and I want the shrimp."
You
don't nobody order both of those.
You knew then, right? I want the surf and turf. I want lobster, shrimp, and steak.
Or for that matter, I only eat at Nobu. Like, you black in this city and you only eat there.
Right.
Wow. In a society believed to be hell-bent on producing weak black men, how then can women of good standing consider them a viable relationship option? Oh, fuck. 323-230-4610. That's the number to dial. You're listening to the Voice of Reason on Dash Radio. It is going down in the town. Mimi versus Antonio. Toe to toe.
Man, don't make this no competition. Don't let us set it up. Don't let us set up.
It's a toe to toe scrap. I give Mimi a 10-9 edge in that last round.
Mimi McGregor. Mimi McGregor. Floyd over here. I'm all tactician.
Oh, I love the topic. Callers, you're on the line. What's your name and where you calling from? Welcome to the Voice of Reason. Speak on it. Caller?
Zo, this is Greg in Atlanta.
Greg in the A. What up, Pim?
What's going on, Playboy? Hey, I love the topic. You touched on a lot of areas. Number one, let's talk about the economics. Okay, we first know that money is a fiat currency, and the system is set up for you to lose. Reason being, there's only so much money in circulation. So where does the interest come from? Money does not reproduce. So somebody has to lose the way the system is set up. Now, when we talk about relationships, I can speak for my family, my community, people I've been around. We haven't been taught the science of choosing a mate. Women I've grown up around, they choose a man because of how they think he can provide. No matter how he provides, if it's by hook or crook, as long as he can bring something to the table, he's considered to be a good catch. And we choose women by how they look, if they can cook and clean, and how the sex game is.
Oh yeah.
I think they left cleaning out now.
Yeah, cleaning is off the board. And cooking.
I cook and clean.
You're going to have to take cooking and cleaning off the board now? The new modern woman is not cooking like that, Pam?
Marie Callender's 30 seconds.
No, seriously, my cousin had to break up with his wife. She wouldn't cook.
Wow. Yeah.
Divorced her.
And you know what's a trip? Is that that's the cheapest.
We don't understand it's not what you make, it's what you keep. So you could have a high income, but if you're making $200,000 a year, you spend $250 a year, you just as broke as a homeless guy.
This is how you know you broke. You can't have a yard sale. The only reason why I say that is a lot of listen to me though.
High price name brand stuff, but it won't get you out of debt.
But listen to what I'm saying. Like, if you go over, I don't know, we live in L.A. You go over to Santa Monica, there's always yard sales. And it's a gang of expensive shit out there.
Estate sales. Estate.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's a bunch of shit. You be like, God damn, what the fuck?
Heirlooms.
This was from my grandmother. She was on the Titanic, and this, this was handed down. These pearls came from whoop-de-whoop-de. Do you understand? A lot of black people, like you said, you take out the car. How much is the median black family worth?
The middle black family worth $1,700 without the family car, the couch, depreciating assets.
So we're talking about again
nationally
wealth. Whoa. We're talking about wealth and not income.
No,
we're just talking about shit that's worth something in your house. You can't.
But see, that's the trip. Sad. What's the trip, though, is like what happened. What kind of happened is this. I call it icing and cake.
Speak on it.
What kind of happened is like think of like what we make from work like icing, and think about what you inherit in assets as cake. Well, right now, black people are eating a bag of icing with cake written on the side.
Nigga, I'm caking. I'm icing rich.
Right.
That's some bullshit.
Sad.
And getting the stomach ache and talking about why did this happen? It's
We got a hollow cake, my nigga. It's a hollow cake.
We just suck it, ice it out of, but it say cake on the side of the bag, so we hold it up to other people and say, "I got cake."
Damn.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you just tuned into this scrum of a discussion, it's a continuation of last Friday's show. And we were on the women real tough.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to
Mimi ain't like that.
You know what I'm saying? We're just trying to get the women. But the reality of it is trying to get women to adjust their thought process as it pertains to relationship standards.
Right.
Like, it's idiotic. This is why I say part of it is the educational system. Because the educational system is a specialist producer.
Okay.
Ever since you was a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? Mm-hmm. And they line you up to be something. What is your focus when you get to college? I focused on this is my major. So they lock you into a specialized thought process, and many people graduate, get the degree, but are very linear in the way they go about living their lives. Mm-hmm. They lack perspective. So sisters is coming out of college in mad numbers with degrees, with faulty expectations for men of color. Mm-hmm. So you have to first stop and go, hold on. Who is the African-American male in context to American society? Who is he? Let's look at the numbers. Now, does that mean there aren't any brothers out there like Antonio? It's a gang of brothers like Antonio. But brothers like Antonio, if we be honest, educated, upwardly mobile, this dude's a lawyer, take a number. Because they got options. Because they're rare in that sense. Mm-hmm. So when the sister comes out, he got to match mine. He got to have his shit together. You can't say he got to have his shit together before you look at
the market.
Right.
And then ageism, racism, sexism, classism. Right. Motherfuckers are still getting shot. Motherfuckers is taking a knee, and because they took a knee, they don't get to get back in the league. Like, shit is happening to African American males. If we're honest, that isn't really happening to sisters on the same level.
Right.
Yeah.
Speak to that.
You know, I think that, in my view, I more so look at how bad the data is with the failure. Like, it's stuff we've never seen in any functional society. So let me give you a context. We've shared this before. In one of the highest incarceration rates we've ever seen in a modern society was during apartheid in South Africa. It was horrific. It was 840 per 100,000 for black males in South Africa. Today,
so 840
per 100,000.
So that's 840 people incarcerated
per 100,000.
Per 100,000 people.
That's less than 1%.
That's less than 1%. What is it today?
So for black males working age between the ages of 19 and 39 in America, it's about 8,000 to 10,000 per 100,000, which is 8 to 10%. Fundamentally, you add that. I just gave you data even without the incarcerated that shows you 45% unemployment throughout 34 major cities. You can go find that article yourself about joblessness. I said it earlier. So like what you end up with is this heightened environment where everybody doesn't know the data and just makes up who they are and what they want from fantasy.
This is the tap dancing.
Yeah.
Right.
And so let's get into it. This is what I tell the sisters. Let's look at relationship as a movie.
Okay.
You're a writer. You're not casting for a man. You're casting for an actor. So what he does is peep your ideas about relationship. Then he models his behavior, because behavior speaks louder than words to women.
Right.
So he'll model his behavior off your script.
Right.
So now he's out here spreading the sand out in front of you, tap dancing. And you're like, oh, this is what I want. This is him.
And what's a trip zone is then when you meet an actual man, you don't know how to deal with him because you're looking for an actor.
Ooh.
Or you're ready for him to act. You're waiting to see he's about to act.
You're waiting to see how many times you heard. So you're too laid back, or how many times you heard?
I've heard it.
You heard you don't entertain me enough.
But this is what I said. The difference between stimulation and substance. See, if I'm gonna stimulate you, we got to be doing. If we are in love, all we have to do is be.
That's it right there.
A lot of people don't know what being is versus doing.
Right.
This is why you see a lot of women running around talking about, I'm bored.
40 years old talking about, let's go to Magic Mountain together with no children.
Let's wear the same shirts.
No children.
What are we doing?
Right.
Holding hands.
Right.
Same Nikes on.
Right. Hilarious.
But it all is a byproduct of the thought process. This is what I'm saying. You don't know, like sisters don't know in a way they kind of racist. Because they're holding the brother to a standard that at the end of the day is unrealistic.
Right.
Can we just be honest? That's a different construct. It's not saying, oh, you can't aspire to be great. Oh, you can't create something. But let's just look at the real facts here. How many brothers is coming out of university as engineers? How many brothers is coming out of universities as scientists? There are a lot of brothers and sisters coming out of university with business degrees. But how many of those degrees are in finance? The hard ones, right? The ones where when you graduate, you can build financial infrastructures for any company all over the world. How many times you hear kids say, I don't even like math?
But even that, so even adding to that, I was looking at one piece of data when I was looking at Piketty, and it showed that when you look at the C-suite jobs in Fortune 500 companies, like people of color only make up 2 to 2.4% of the people in striking distance of becoming CEO.
Wow.
So what do you think it is for black males? So when you say, and part of it is these movies. I remember it was a movie where Taraji and Morris Chestnut or whatever his name was, and they both was CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. It ain't make no sense. It don't exist. And so like they've sold us this fantastical image of two non-high school graduates in Beyonce and Jay-Z that became $500 million people. And then they sold us Taraji and Morris Chestnut at Fortune 500 company CEOs. And what's really happening is like nobody wants to sell us the truth, which is...
You telling me that black celebrity is being used to pacify motherfuckers in the belief space.
Absolutely.
If I put these motherfuckers in front of them, they will believe that they can do what they're doing and spend the rest of their life striving to do it.
Instead of enacting black politics.
Mimi, you better get him off you. Get him off you, Mimi.
First of all, the system is set up to make the rich richer and the poor poorer, period. That's the way the system is set up, no matter what race you are. But of course, you're right. The statistics are that black people are in a lower category than the other races. But I'm just going to say this. If a black man goes ahead and he's honest and tells a woman who he is, it's kind of hard for that woman in a sense because, like you said, they want to hear the lie. They want to hear that I'm doing well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. They don't necessarily want to hear I'm doing bad and I need some help. Can you pay the bill? You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side of it, there are women that take care of men. And there are women that look forward to taking care of men. And if those men did come out the box and say, hey, I don't have it, that young woman might say, well, I got it for you because she want to keep her black man. So there are different types of women. I don't want to put women or men in a certain box because there's women that...
Is it socially acceptable? Let's put it like that.
That's the next step.
Well, I didn't say that it was. I'm saying the facts. You know what I'm saying? It's not socially acceptable.
You saying she does it reluctantly?
She does it, and then she tell her homegirl that he's no good.
No, let me tell you something. There's some women that love to pay for men. Okay, and I know some. Okay,
I
don't love to pay. Let me tell you something. I didn't say I love to pay for them. Okay, I would be lying if I said I love to pay for something. Now I love to pay if he's my man. And I love to do something nice for him. I don't go out paying for people that I'm not even in a serious relationship for. I try to take care of myself. No. What I'm trying to do is create a future for myself. Whether a man is with me or not, I'm going to be successful. So I build my life based on my dreams and goals. I learned one thing in my age. I used to be all into, let me please this person and that person. You can't please everybody. You could do everything for somebody 20 years, and the one time you don't do something they want you to do, they forgot about them 20,000 1,000 other things you did. They forgot about that. They want to know what you're doing today. So I don't live my life basing it on what other people have to say about what I do. What I try to do is build up a career, build goals. I have businesses, and I'm trying to leave a legacy for my daughter. I want to be in that percentage that does something different. I have life insurance on myself. I have life insurance on my daughter. I have life insurance on my mom. I do things. I have IRA accounts. I have iniquities. I do my thing to make sure I make a difference. So it's up to people to make a difference, not to just sit back and talk about what's going on. You're supposed to make a difference.
Speak on it.
And if you teach people how to make a difference, then they can. That's just like the example for Donald Trump and his taxes. The rich people stay rich. Let me tell you something. They got all kind of things to get out of paying their taxes. They get corporate credit, and they write everything off. They need to spend more than they made. It's all a game, but you have to know the game. And the sad thing is all of us aren't in the game. But if we school each other, we can get in that game, and then we can have a legacy for our friends, our families, and we can have something to look forward to.
Hold it up, Boko Shop.
You feel me?
But let me ask you something, Mimi. Okay,
I was in the middle. Okay, go ahead.
I'm coming back to that first part that you said, where you said, and I respect it. You said I'm not.
I was in the middle of something.
I mean.
You said I'm not paying. You said I'm not paying for it.
No. I'll tell you exactly what I said. I'm not paying for someone that I'm not in love with. Okay. Period. Okay, that's period. Now, if it's my brother, my sister, whoever, if it's somebody's birthday I care about, I'll pay for their food. I mean, I can call 1 million people up to tell you I'm a giver. But my point is, I don't meet a guy and I'm like, oh, let me take you out to dinner. I mean, I would be lying to sit here and tell you that. So I'm not doing that. What I am doing is what I'm focused on me right now. So the dating thing,
that's what the guy just called in about. What would happen if black men did the same thing? Who have no dates.
Okay, let me just be honest with you. Some black men are concentrating on their businesses. There's some black men, when they play basketball, for example, I'm sure Zoe's son, he is focused on playing basketball and going to school.
I'm on that nigga like a cheap suit.
And women are secondary. And it's okay if I feel the same way. I can concentrate on my career, and I don't have to have anybody look down on me because I'm concentrating on me. I've lived my life helping people. I've lived my life doing all types of things for people. If I told you things that I've done for a black man, I've gotten a black man out of jail. I have done things for people that you wouldn't even believe, and I can show you facts to that. But what I'm saying is right now where I am, my daughter's 26. I'm living for Michelle. I travel. I want to enjoy my life, and people are dying left and right. So right now I'm trying to get my quality of life where it needs to be, taking my herbs, my vitamins, getting my IRAs, my iniquities, and concentrating on my future. If a man's meant to be with me, then he will be. And me and him will build our team, and we will be the bomb. But I'm not like searching for a dude, because when you search, you find the wrong thing.
All right. Oh, God. I'm exhausted. Because it's a heavy topic. It's a complex topic. We know women direct the current of the relationships. Yeah, because we just mold our behaviors to your beliefs. And a lot of us know you push your intuition in the background. A lot of you women know when you fucking with a fuck boy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And he just behaved the way you wanted. And you thought you was getting what you wanted, even though in the back of your mind, you knew that he wasn't that.
Right.
Men, we got to do a better job just telling the truth about where we at.
Right.
Whether you get the girl or not. But it's hard for most men because lies work on y'all. Right. The fantasy works. Women have to be honest and accountable in saying, when a motherfucker plays to my fantasy, I'm more receptive to him.
Right.
When a motherfucker plays to the reality of things, I'm not as flexible. So that has to be dealt with, especially if. What is the purpose of marriage? Isn't it?
It's a combination of wealth, and
that's what it is.
Right. And the trippy part of what I'm hearing though, kind of is this. I tell you that you basically, like, Black America, the large part of young Black America dating age has no wealth. That's just what it is. But who gets judged for that? That's the fundamental, because it's like
you not a man.
Yeah, that's the interesting, like, the dilemma of the idea that And I respect that, what you said, Mimi. It came from a real place about like being just for me. But like, if we all do that, there will be no dates.
Because you know where it comes back to? It comes back to the basic fundamental question. If we don't have the resources, just us two, for the majority of people, isn't enough. Having each other isn't enough. Now, that is the real question.
Explain that. What you mean?
Like what I'm saying, like, we're together. For what? Right? Like, what are we doing?
Like when white people are together, it's grandparents, it's great grandparents that you don't even see that are dead that left something.
Right.
It's a combination of uncles. And I think we don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we're together, but it's not enough, especially in the context of this society. This is a capitalistic society. It is predicated off of having shit.
Right.
So if you don't have nothing, and I'm talking about external shit. I mean, even white people get into this. They get into it in a different way through consumerism and materialism. But at the end of the day, if black people don't have nothing but each other, for the most part, they see that as not enough. Who's perpetuating the idea that love isn't enough? Is it white people? I hear that out of the mouths of sisters. We talked about it the other day. There is no romance without finance.
Right.
But nobody is willing to say I'm a prostitute for saying that.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? Like, I want energy and love and.
It's truly the interesting thing is, like, as you turn the turn of the century, we came out of slavery. And then we came into Jim Crow, and a lot of people think of Jim Crow as black and white water fountains when actually it's about locking black people out of wealth. And then we came into mass incarceration. And in my view, if we had these incarceration numbers inverted, the ones I said earlier, there's no way black women would have accepted it. I think that if black women were incarcerated at 10,000 per 100,000, while black men were at a normal rate of like 300 per 100,000, it would be riots in the street.
Oh, if it was flipped?
Yeah, it would be riots in the street. And what you see as a result is, I think I said this last week, there's not really an understanding of the kind of black that black men are living. In terms of like the reality of how many people you know that are incarcerated that look just like you, how you deal with people's like fear of you. What did you say about white people, how they perceive black men? About size and everything like that?
Yeah. You talking about when they see the younger boys. They see the younger boys as older than they really are. Right? Mm-hmm. There's a study out that says, teachers, police officers, when they see young black boys, you're talking about 10, 12 years old, 11, they see them as older than they really are.
But is it possible that we're having that in dates too? Where black women are seeing black men on these dates and seeing this character that this man could never be.
Wow,
coming back to the guy, how we don't know how to pick mates. You can ask him questions and find out if he's not that character. You just don't know those questions.
Ooh, Mimi. Mimi, and the setup is clear.
Oh my goodness! Oh well, shoot! I got so much to say. I don't even know
Speak on it,
where to begin.
Just take a deep breath.
Okay, USA. Okay, so like I said, I totally agree with the data and things of that nature, but I just really believe that how can I say this? It's a setup for failure for black people in a lot of ways anyways. Like I said, we're too busy trying to act like we have more than what we have. We're always trying to, everybody wants to outdo each other. What kind of phone you got? If your friends pop out with the iPhone 4 and you got the 7 Plus, you think they're a buster. I mean, and that's not necessarily true. That's just the way society has your mind set up. If you know what I mean? If you have a 2000 car versus somebody having a 2017, 2019, it makes you feel like this person is doing better than you, but they may not be. That person may have all the money in the bank and they're just riding in this car because they're saving their money. But, it's just, I think we live in a superficial world and everybody's trying to play like they're someone they're not. It's just like, I know a young lady, they're not paying their car note, they're not paying for their insurance, but they got the longest weave to their tushy. She spent $600 on the hair, right?
Wow.
But she can't pay for the necessities in the home because they believe they can go out in the streets and find a man to pay those bills. So she looks right and looks the part. She thinks maybe she'll meet a man and maybe he might help with that bill, or maybe he'll take her to eat to suffice for that non being able to purchase the food like she would have been able to purchase. So it's kind of sad the way the world is set up, but it's set up vice versa. There's men that do the exact same thing. I have a play brother. That's his whole little get down. He finds overweight ladies who he thinks he wants to manipulate, and they're beautiful ladies, but he manipulates them by saying, "Oh, you're beautiful. I love you. Let's spend our life together." They have even sent him money to get an apartment.
Why does that work?
But what kind of ladies though?
That's what I'm saying.
The overweight part is just like being a black male.
But I'm not stereo. I'm telling you what he does. I talk to him about it because, like I told him, karma is real. You have a daughter. Right? And you don't want that to happen to your daughter. What's sad about people, you want to say, oh, this, and that, but if it's your daughter, you got a different answer. You know what I'm trying to say?
That double standard.
So it's a double standard, because if I tell you right now, I got a broke friend for your daughter right now, you're not going to want to introduce. But if I say I don't want a broke man, then I'm some type of wrong type of female.
There go Mimi.
So what I'm trying to say is it's a double standard. Everybody wants to say what's good when it's good for their household. But at the end of the day, keep it real. If it was your daughter, you wouldn't go for it. She brought a dude home. He just got out of jail. He needs some help. He got on his busted shoes, and you ask her, what does he do for a living? And she says, he just got out of San Quentin. But he gonna be all right, Daddy? What you gonna say?
Mad.
Right. So let's keep it real. You're
I ain't even
gonna
gonna
be
lie.
mad.
I'm gonna be like, what?
Right. Because that's your child. You know what I mean? So we have to keep it real. We don't want that for our children. But at the same time, we can't put down the black man because he's going through that. We all go through something. And even though he's going through something, he may be all right later. So it's just it's a catch-22, I believe.
But I thought that whole section was great, and particularly when you qualified the kind of woman that he targeted, which is vulnerable women.
Absolutely.
But we also see that as a problem.
He's wrong for that.
We don't see that with black women.
Oh, it's wrong for that. Period.
No, I'm talking about socially. Socially, what? It's a very similar dynamic going on, just as done across the spectrum. And I would argue that it's funny enough, maybe some of the traits of being, quote unquote, an overweight black woman is basically something that all black men are going through because of the data I just gave you. And so what's happening is that he's weak. So you manipulate that weakness to get free stuff.
Well, that's
and I'm not saying everybody's doing it.
Right.
I'm saying that structurally,
right,
everybody is trying to get a piece of doing it in different ways. And what's happening now, I find, is that black men, even like when the young man called earlier and said, well, I got to be the logic and she got to be the fantasy. None of it works that way. She's a person, you a person, and go in there and get what you want. And hopefully it takes her into consideration and grow a healthy relationship. It's not your job to make up for the fact that, like take for instance the young lady that you just said with the weave down her back. Mm-hmm. There should be a signal somewhere early that tells that man that's starting to talk to her that she's not the right one. And maybe it's it's the weave that's coming down the back that far.
Right. Well, no, absolutely. I mean, I agree. I'm not, that's why I brought it up. I think it's wrong. I don't think that that's something that people should do, but it's just the reality of the society that we're living in. This is what it is. I mean, people put up pictures of themselves on Instagram, Facebook, and it's not even them. They're, they're hiding behind someone else's photo. My daughter one time, she was on 2 other websites. This person was saying that they were her, trying to get with people. The point that I'm making is people will find a picture of you, use it as their profile pic, and actually on Instagram, Facebook, getting dates, and then, what my point is, it's all because they don't feel good about themselves. And people that don't feel good about themselves, they're vulnerable and they get themselves in different situations, period.
Caller, you're on the Voice of Reason. Today's topic is crazy. The black man credit card. This fool is maxed out over here trying to live a Bow Wow type life.
Right.
Fronting like he got a damn plane so he could get the girl.
Right.
But why does he typically get the girl? Oh, damn. 323-230-4610. Caller, you're on the line. What's your name and where you calling from? Speak on it.
My name is Shatima.
Say it one more time, honey. One more time.
Shatima.
Shatima.
Yes.
Welcome to the Voice of Reason. Speak on it.
Thank you. So I was listening, and my thing is this. There are women that will use men, black men or what have you. I've heard, I have guy friends that, use them to go out to eat. My policy is that if I'm not interested in the male, I'm not going to waste my time in terms of him spending money on me. That's me, because I wouldn't want that done to me. I've been rejected. My feelings have been hurt, and I try to put the energy out in the universe to treat all human beings with respect. So that's not something that I do. My thing is this, and please, when I say this, I don't want to be degrading or, to black men.
No judgment here. Come on, honey.
My thing is, what do black men have so much of that they're so scared of losing? I actually commented. Like, you hear a lot of black men say, I don't want to get married because if I get married, she's going to take everything I got. What? Your house, your car? Those are things that you can get back. It's like black men, they get a little bit of something, and they're holding on to it because they think that they're just going to lose. And where white men and other men are marrying in order to increase their wealth. I think that a lot of times black men say, I got these options. They focus too much on the quantity of women that they could possibly have instead of the quality of woman.
So Shatima, stay on the line. I don't want you to go anywhere. I'm going to throw it to Antonio so he can answer your question. Antonio?
Sandy Darity of Duke did a study about in January. He showed that the typical black woman with a college degree worth negative $11,000. Typical black woman without a degree is worth nothing, even though she does hair or something that's strenuous, drives a bus. But the typical black woman that's married is worth negative $20,000. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is that wealth in and of itself does not increase wealth. I mean, marriage in and of itself does not increase wealth. What you actually see with white people is that marriage unlocks a key to other money from other family members. It unlocks the key to grandma saying, it's that time. Let me give you the $75,000 and then to put down on that house. And I think for us, what's ended up happening is that a lot of people, and this is what's the difference in experience of blackness, have never experienced what it's like to be on the other side. What do I mean? I don't have children, but I went to family court one time with one of my close friends and just helping them out. It's horrendous for black men. And so when you say, in a sense, that what do you have to lose? Everything, your freedom, the way that they talk to them in family, in the court that I went to, that's just for like families, you would never even want to deal with that. Meaning in terms of taking your license so
you
that
can't even get a fishing license.
And I'm not saying that's the black woman's fault. That's not what I'm dealing with right now. I'm saying just because he doesn't have a house doesn't mean there isn't a whole lot to lose. And you can go to prison for child support now. Marrying or dating the wrong woman who has the wrong issues in terms of who she's targeting. And so I come back to it and I guess I say there are things to lose. I'm not saying that's the right way to approach relationships, but I am saying that there are things to lose and that marriage in and of itself does not increase wealth for black people.
And let me piggyback on this just a little bit. There's a book you can get by PhD Helen Smith. It's called Men on Strike. And it's not just talking about black men. It's talking about men, period. The statistics, they are opting out of marriage because most men are starting to see marriage, children, the house, the wife, all that as a bad deal for some of the same reasons that Antonio just mentioned. Black women typically don't go to jail over child support, but black men do, right? women typically get the house, especially if you got kids. Women typically get the house. So you lose the equity in that house, in the child support and the divorce and all of that. Again, divorce is the number one indicator of poverty in America.
Part of it too. I worked with a judge. I externed with a judge that did family court. He explained it to me. The laws in family court never caught up with our post-feminist era. So like they're still seeing you guys as victims. So I think that some people who don't have like real intimate experience with courts don't see how something as simple as having a child with the wrong person can literally devastate your life, particularly if you're a male, particularly if you're a black male.
So to say, what is it that you have to lose? My life.
Right.
If you choose the wrong
You know how many
person.
black men cut hair because they got child support issues? They do cash-based. When you see a black man doing cash-based business sometimes, it's because he got child support. You might not know it.
Can I chime in?
He might not tell you.
Sure. We didn't forget about you, but yeah, definitely you can chime in.
No problem. I'm not disputing that. But when a woman chooses the wrong man, it's hell to pay. So my thing is that I'm not making excuses. If a woman is not treating that man well, or they were married, first of all, were they married? First of all, why are you having babies with women you don't want to marry? Number one, let's assess that, because it's both people's fault. If you don't want to be with that particular person, if you don't want to be with that person forever, why is it the responsibility of the woman to have to protect herself and not have the baby? You made that baby too, number one. Now, if that woman is being vindictive, being evil, that's on her. That's not fair. But let's not pretend that there are men out there that don't want to take care of their responsibilities. That's why the court is involved.
But watch this. Watch this. I had a lawyer friend tell me the same thing. She went to LMU as well. And she said, we only get involved when the two people who created the baby don't have enough sense to work it out themselves. And that's when the court gets involved. And the court doesn't care about your family. The court is win, lose. Winners, losers. So because y'all can't figure it out, we'll figure it out. And we're going to figure it out with a fucking hatchet. We're going to chop it up.
Right.
Okay? So that's number one. Number two, to come back to, I mean, like you're saying a lot of stuff, but if you really look at it, he should be responsible. You can't, look at the contradiction here. Sister, you are having unprotected sex. Both of you. That means you're both irresponsible sexually with your reproductive organs. So now, because you're pregnant, you can't automatically stand on be responsible. Do you understand what I mean? Like you were always responsible. No, this child was conceived in an irresponsible act on both parties. But now let's be responsible. And let's be responsible is primarily on the shoulders of the dude.
Well, but and I think coming back to the laws, coming back to the laws, the way the laws are set up, after that point of irresponsibility, it then swings entirely in your favor to make the decisions.
That's what I mean.
About whether this baby is kept. Yeah, you can listen to his opinion if you so choose, but it's seen as your body.
Ultimately is up to
appropriately.
Her.
Yeah. And so, like, I think that what's happened is that we never, as a culture, really like put the onus on that decision to say, if you are going to make this decision, I'm not even talking about financially, like it's just your baby. I'm not dealing with that. But like to say you really did step up and make this decision multiple times. Cause like I come back to the main crux of your statement as well. And I think that what you don't see is how court codifies your ability to be hard on him in a way that it doesn't for you. Meaning like they had this little series. You can probably find it on YouTube where they were getting people for child support in Alabama for not paying child support. It was crazy. So they set up stings to get people like to come down.
Child support stings?
Child support stings.
Wow.
So nonetheless, they set it up where they would tell you getting Alabama Crimson Tide tickets.
You getting football tickets?
Yeah.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, you getting tickets. So then they had two black dudes come in and they were so happy that they getting tickets. And then when they came in, they tackled these men like they were felons. Now they did a third one with a white lady, and it was so sweet how they just talk. She asked, "Can she go back outside?" And her great aunt is in the car, and they didn't tackle her. They held her hand. And I think that right now what we're seeing is also this is tied into mass incarceration as well in the mix of this. And so like we have to understand what Zoe said earlier about how we perceive black men as beast-like, as animals, is oftentimes also kind of infused into these other court processes, and people manipulate them. Like whether we want to admit it or not, people manipulate them and say he can't be a good father. I should get him all the time, and these things happen. And you know, I get your point. I just think that it's not necessarily fair when you get to the courts at all, and most people don't know how unfair it is.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
fathers' rights aren't respected that much.
Wait, did you hear what the attorney just said? I think that's.
I can understand that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that the system is perfect, but my point is that when a woman chooses wrong, she's demonized. Oh, you should have chose the right person. But when a man chooses wrong, it's like, oh, you know, that woman is the biggest bitch. So that's my point. I've been.
Well, it's technically the same.
I'm not an evil and vindictive person. The person who I had a child by did not want to pay child support because he had an ought against me because I broke up with him. So I tried to work with him. You know what I'm saying? So in my particular case, it wasn't being evil, wasn't being vindictive. He was the one who's being evil and vindictive to me. I gave him plenty of opportunities to try to work it out outside of the court. So when I hear these things, and a lot of times this is the situation that happens with a lot of women when men don't want to pay child support. It should be 50-50. Women spend more money on a child than men do in child support. That's the reality of it. If you sum it up, because I'm an accountant, I'm a business person, if you sum up the cost of a child and who the child is living with, primarily the woman, that woman is going to spend more money on that child than that man, okay? Now, if the courts are just demonizing the man and just doing all sorts of things, no, I'm not in agreement with that. If a man is taking care of his child and that woman is being evil and vindictive and just trying to milk him for what he's worth, then no, that's not right. But the reality of it is that that's not always the case, that the courts do have to get involved. So when I hear black men complaining, first of all, my first question is, are you really taking care of that child? Are you being supportive of that woman? Because taking care of a child is not all about money, okay? There were a lot of emotional support that I needed from my son's father, even if we wasn't together. But because he was so evil and vindictive, it wasn't always about money, right? So because I broke up with him. So my thing is that I think that two people should be able to come together and say, hey, our relationship didn't work out. Everybody is not out there just having all willy-nilly unprotected sex and you having all these babies. Some people are doing that, but some people are educated. Some people think that they're going to be with the person. Some people are young. So when we say, oh, the responsibility of the woman, I'm not saying that. Things happen. But when that happens, then two people need to be able to be mature and come together and say, hey, listen, this is my income. This is your income.
Can I ask where she's at?
He wants to know where you are. Speak on it.
What do you mean, where am I?
Where are you? What part of the world are you in? What city? What state?
Oh, what part?
Yes.
Oh, state, Chicago.
Chi-Teasy.
Okay. And I just come back to you. I think it would be a lot easier, and I think we would have a much easier process if it wasn't if the family court system was much less biased and respected fathers' rights more. Black men would have less fear about the whole process. And I think that until you really look at the data on how many black men don't have licenses, when you look at Walter Scott as an example in South Carolina, you know what he was running from? He was running from child support.
Child support and got shot in the back and killed over.
And I'm not dealing with I'm not putting that on the woman that he got shot in the back. I'm saying that inherently in this system is this reality where our children are turned against us and they become part of the reason we feel our lives are not right. And I'm not saying
but
that's.
Why was he not paying child support?
But see that's.
Have a job?
But that's
hold on.
What I'm saying to you.
One at a time.
What I'm saying to you is that's why it's a problem. Is instead of really dealing with the reality of why is child support connected to his license, You deal with why is he not paying child support? He can't pay child support if he doesn't have a license to go to work. And then it should never have been tied together. That should never have been tied together.
Agree with that.
So wait. Do you see how? And this is why we have these type of conversations. But it is required that we listen and that we process. So you see how this attorney just pointed out the fact that employment and child support are tied together, right? So now employment and licensing tied together. If you don't pay, we're going to take away your driver's license, which is important to a motherfucker getting into a job interview.
Right. And so now let's back up, Zoe.
Yeah.
Look at this thing in a larger scope. And this is what I say about our sisters. This is not just in this lifetime. Like, I know that you might say, I understand. Do we really understand that they've been doing this for hundreds of years?
So,
or do
so
we
what
get
does
so
that
close?
mean? What does that mean when the sister on the phone is so hell bent in the participation of this system that has been pre-existing for hundreds of years? What does that say?
I feel like it says that we're not really observing and understanding blackness and what it means about how they turn our people against each other at the system level. We continuously kind of look at things, and I'm not at all saying that who you choose, is totally your fault. They can change. You could pick somebody in the beginning and they become somebody else in the end, or they can become alcoholic, abusive, anything like that.
Right.
But what I'm dealing with right now is more so contextualizing mass failure. When you see the kind of lack of child support rates that we're seeing, there's something systemically wrong that goes beyond your particular situation. And a lot of times these black men can't communicate that. That guy that you're talking about, I would love to walk with him to the child support line and see how the lady that talks to him. Because I did that one time. I was shocked, being honest. I didn't expect to be talked to like a child, literally.
Wow. So why aren't you working? The kid's going to have to eat some kind of way. What the fuck are you doing? That's basically what the fuck are you doing with yourself?
I don't have a license, though. I don't have a license. That's why I don't work.
Wow.
Right.
Can you give it back to me? No, we don't give it back to you till you pay.
Right.
How much? $22,000.
His license was taken away because he didn't pay child support, but he didn't have a job in order to pay child support. What was going on in his life that he didn't have a job? Was he a convicted felon?
What do you... let's go back.
This is how they do it, though. That's what I'm telling you.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The context.
My car, I get back and forth to work. My car is broke down. I'm not making it. What I'm saying is that if there's a will and a way. Now, it depends on demographic. Of course, I live in a big city. You can take public transportation. I oftentimes think that people make excuses. I'm not sure in that particular case with the gentleman that was killed. By no means do I think that he was killed. What I'm saying is that single mothers have to do way more oftentimes than black men that have children. So when we start talking about that, it's not that I'm not sympathetic. It's just that I know a lot of single parents, and I also know men that take care of their kids. I know more men that take care of their kids that are not involved in the court system because they were able to have intelligent conversations with their kid's mother.
Then that means the kid's mother was intelligent.
Well, more men that take care of their children than don't? Is that what you said?
I know more, yes.
Then why didn't you start off with that?
Right. Because it seems like you're defending the other side.
You're making the other side the normal.
I'm not defending. No, I'm not. Listen, I understand systematic racism. I understand when it comes to black people in general. That's not what I'm saying. In terms of saying on the particular topic, my thing is there are some black men, just men that don't take care of their kids. They don't.
But why is that the story of most of the ones that you know?
Yeah, I think you should have started off with the other one first, especially if the other side is the majority, right? Maybe that should have been the because at the end of the day, that's the narrative that's being pushed through all of the major media is that black men somehow don't take care of their kids and are not interested, don't even want to.
So let's pose it the way it should have. I know most of the men that I know take care of their children, but there's some that are out here not taking care of their children.
Right. But see, and guess what? The reverse of that is true. Or we could point out 80% to 20% with regards to parental alienation, where the custodial parent is 80% of the time a mother.
Right.
So when we look at parental alienation, that means 80% of mothers who are keeping kids away from that other parent, the non-custodial parent, which is really the dad. It's women doing that. Women are keeping that kid away from that father for whatever reason. So now you got to ask the question, is that a form of abuse? Because parental alienation also covers a mother talking negatively to the child about the father.
Right, that's wrong.
So we could flip it the other way and go, but the majority of women are good moms. You see what I'm saying? What if?
Well,
you see?
I'm not gonna lie. I talk negatively because he talked negatively about me. Now, my son,
but he don't have a
thank
kid.
God. So I've gone through that process, thank God. But it wasn't a negative talk in the beginning. So is that particularly wrong? Absolutely.
Because what you're doing is it has nothing to do with the father now. Now you've crossed over the line of good mothering and turned into someone who is attacking the fabric of your child's soul. Because whether you like his daddy or not, talking bad about his daddy to him destroys him, not the daddy.
No, it wasn't. No, he did. Nope. My thing is, I understand what you're saying. All situations are not equal. If someone is talking negatively about me, I have a choice to defend myself. Okay, so that was in that particular situation. It's not a current situation. My son is fine. His dad and him are fine. So that's not thing. I had to stop talking to his dad because it was so negative. That wasn't on me. That was on him. That's what I'm saying. Every situation is different. It's not always black woman that is the aggressor.
Well, in this situation, is it you the aggressor? In this situation?
No, I wasn't the aggressor.
Well, are you going to take some responsibility for the negative nature of this relationship?
My responsibility is that I broke up with the person.
Hell nah. No. See, this part of the problem right here. Antonio, get in here, man. Get in here.
It's just. I think the thing is we got to control the controllables, and like I feel you on a lot of stuff that you're saying in the sense of people taking responsibility, but it sounds like, being honest, that the one person that doesn't want to take responsibility for her own actions is you on this call
right now.
And I really do. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Go ahead and finish.
I'm saying to you that if this dude is Skeletor, if this is sounding really like Skeletor right now.
Right.
Like, I just gotta say, either you chose the wrong guy, which you say is not really the woman's fault.
But she said that's the crux of her responsibility. That's the gist of her responsibility, is choosing him. That's what she just said. That's it.
Wait a minute. Exactly. No, listen. I worked with you. I was 19 years old. I took my responsibility for not choosing the person that I would choose at my age now. I had to deal with that emotionally. Okay. He's not a bad person. We just wasn't a match. What I'm saying is that he was evil and vindictive towards me. I'm not even getting into my whole entire business. So the whole question is that I'm a person, a woman, that had to put somebody on child support, not out of evilness, not out of vindictiveness. It's because when I'm trying to sit and talk to you and say, hey, can you at least give me $200 a month? I'm struggling over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, go to school and do all of this. No, I don't want you. Broke up with me. You broke up the family. This is the things that I had to deal with. So, and like I said, my son is 18. We no longer had to deal with that. But it was rough for those particular years that I had to make a conscious decision to have a mediator to talk through him because we were arguing back and forth. And I did not want that for my particular, for my son, because I was being called B's and H's and all of these particular things for no reason. So he was the aggressor.
I just want to ask a quick question.
Yes.
Are you bitter?
No, I'm not bitter. How am I bitter?
I'm just asking. You said no.
I'm taking up for women. Because I think this is what I see on social media. I'm taking up for women that do have men on child support. This is what, at the end of the day, everyone is not evil and vindictive of putting a man on child support. That's really what I'm trying to say. Some women have tried to work with the man, and that man wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. I'm not bitter.
But this is the interesting part is that we didn't, that wasn't the show. So like you called in with that issue and made this show about that.
I didn't make a show about that. What you said is that when you got into child support, I didn't get into child support. I didn't get into child support.
You know what though? She made for great radio though.
Yeah,
I love
this
it.
This was great.
What you think, Mimi? Mimi didn't say that.
Mimi, check your girl, Mimi.
Well, you know what? I was just listening and trying to see where, you know what? Everybody's got a story.
I'm a radio host, actually, and a journalist, so.
Get your girl, Mimi. Go get your girl.
She do everything. She was a parole officer.
She do hair.
You doing it all.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this.
She worked for the mayor.
How do you feel about, how does your son or your child feel about their father at this point? Is there a better relationship or none at all, or what's going on?
Absolutely. He has lived with his dad. He's lived with his dad. It's not a bad relationship with him. You know, and his dad is not a bad relationship with me. Like I said, he's 18. He just graduated from high school. We're well. I'm saying this is in the younger years when we first broke up. It was hell to pay. So when you're saying someone is bitter, no, I'm not bitter. I actually, when he went to go live with his dad, he was taking off child support. That was fair.
Right.
I didn't fight it. He owed me back child support because he didn't pay. But you know what? I said, you know what? I'm not even going to go back and forth with the court because at this particular point, he went to go live with his dad.
That's why I asked.
You should go back and listen to this call, and you'll see that if you would have started off saying that most black men take care of their kids, and my child,
you'd have been good.
Father, the father of my children, is a better father now, but he wasn't a good father in the beginning.
Right.
But you know what? You learned something from it, though.
I hope
right?
so.
You learned something from your experience, because I've had a similar experience, and I'm sure you learned something from it, because we all have to take one responsibility. Because, like, with my kid's father, we would try to talk, but it was so angry situation. So I said all that to say you learned something from it, right? And you know what's important, though? That we take those experiences and take it into our future.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, I appreciate the call. Thank you for calling in.
No problem.
This was heavy.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling.
Wow. Let's just do a quick 30-second summary because we're at the end of the show. I want to start with Mimi. Mimi.
Well, in closing, I would like to say I agree with a lot of what Antonio said in regards to the stats, because the stats are the stats. My positioning was just that I believe that we can do better, people. So I think that everybody, let's just try to do better. You know what I'm saying? If we all round up, get the information, share it, then we can make a difference, because the stats don't lie. America, you know, is in a situation where they make the richer and the poorer poorer. So let's get out of that situation where we're on the poor side. Let's move over to middle class and make it over to the other side.
Antonio, as far as black males being fucking maxed out relationship credit cards.
Yeah, my thing is just go to Tone Talks and subscribe and listen to some of the economic videos. I feel like our men really have to learn how to love themselves. Right. That's not something I think I got to teach our black women. I think that's kind of socialized into them. And our men got to learn to love themselves and express that love in a healthy way on when they interact with people, whether that be their own parents or whether that be new partners. And if you do that, you'll end up with a lot less Nobu receipts at the end of the month.
Nobu? With your broke ass, what you doing at Nobu?
Yeah, but you know, and we got to stop tap dancing. You know, and when I say that, it's okay to tell a woman that she's attractive, but hopefully she tells you you're handsome back.
Right.
Wow.
Well, own up.
Acting like you're supposed to say that. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for today's show. It was on fire. Listen, I'll be back Monday, 5 to 7 p.m., of course, with another Voice of Reason episode. But before that, on Monday, 11 to 1 p.m., you're going to see the So What Morning Show. A lot of people have been asking me to do this particular episode. It is Moorish History for Dummies, Part 2. We're going to do that one.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be dope. This So What Monday is coming. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm out, and I'm going to holla at y'all after the weekend. Deuces.
Deuces.